Harold Yagleson is the most powerful villain in the Marvel Universe. Title of episode. Rob from Comics Explained makes a video about it. Hey, everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So, the show has gone on for over 10 years, which means we're doing Thor Vikings. Like
I thought you were going to be like, so the show's gone on for 10 years. This is it. I'm done.
That's it.
I mean,
packing it in.
This is the indication that, like, not that we scraped the bottom of the barrel, but certainly that, like, we're just doing anything at this point. Because we actually covered the first issue on a sister show called The Good Man.
I recognize that cover.
Don't remember it in any way. R-rated Thor. Marvel Max was the line in the early 2000s that was just basically hardcore Marvel comics. Jessica Jones emerged from that with relative sincerity, and outside of that, very little other books remain. Punisher Max as well, of course. Yeah. It lends himself the most to it. Also fostered by Garth Ennis, and I assume, and I don't remember, I actually did talk to Garth Ennis, but that was over 4 years ago now, so I actually don't remember if I even brought it up with him, but I feel like there's no way I wouldn't have, because, like, why would Garth Ennis do a Marvel comic starring Thor unless he was under contract to do it? So, Thor Vikings is written by Garth Ennis with art by Glenn Fabry. It is an R-rated Thor comic that is neither available in print now nor on digital Marvel Unlimited subscription service.
Whoa.
Suspiciously enough, apparently Disney Marvel doesn't want you to read a book that involves sexual assault, pillaging, and graphic violence, and also a character that's featured by Australia's most beautiful demigod, Chris Hemsworth. So, I don't know. But it's just Thor. It's pure, straight up, in continuity Thor. Although you would argue it wouldn't be because of the ensuing carnage that results in this. Like, there's a body count of the tens of thousands in this book. And the book also says no one would be able to get over the amount of horrors that were wrought on the world because of what happens in this book.
And so yet no one ever mentions it.
No one ever refers to it.
Yeah.
But also, you know, you could get away with being like, okay, it's an isolated book. It's like, it's the Marvel Universe, but only Thor is the hero, or only Thor and the one surprise guest character that appears in this book. But also the Avengers show up, and they get their asses handed to them, but they don't die.
By Vikings?
Yes. Vikings.
Just regular Vikings.
Oh, I mean, they are
Like
cursed.
Asgardian
Oh, right,
Vikings.
the cursed Vikings.
No. Just
No.
straight up 1/003 era Vikings.
So,
regular human
God,
Vikings.
I remember this first issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
It is ridiculous. So let's jump into it. Thor Vikings, 5-issue miniseries. What?
I love that it's a 5-issue miniseries that they're like, we're not collecting this in trade.
They did. No, it was 2003. Of course it was in trade. The trade was only $13, and I, like a dope, never bought it. And now it's like $60 or $70 because it's out of print, and of course it is. And also, never buy a trade paperback for more than cover price. In fact, I have a hard and fast rule in my own heart, which is never pay more than 50% less than cover price on a trade paperback, because trade paperbacks are made to be read with, like, dirty, jelly-soaked hands. Like, that's for children to thumb through and play with. That is the aftermarket. They used to print that shit on newsprint because they knew how disposable and trash it was. Trade paperbacks are supposed to get you a comic book for less because you missed it the first time. Like, if you're a comic book fan,
and they
you
cheaped
bought
out on
it
the
already.
printing.
That's right. Yeah, the printing's a little cheaper. Now, Marvel Comics is like, ooh, a 4-issue miniseries, that'll be $32. And I'm like, how about you take it out of my ass? Because there's no way I'm giving you $32 for a book that costs $4 a piece. Especially because the second that book is out for a week, it's worth half price. Bite me. No. But
Well, that's just it. Half price is going to be another $16.
yes, exactly.
I gotta, make it 32 initially to make
Right.
any money.
Yeah. But, like, no, you don't. Glenn Fabry creates a hauntingly realistic world that is graphic to the nth degree, and it's just fantastic looking and also gross. I feel bad because it is really, really gross and really, really fantastic. It's a fantastic Marvel comic. I'm like, this is a good looking book. Too bad.
A lot of effort went into this horrifying thing.
Why?
Yeah.
Who commissioned this? Who was like, oh, Garth, I'm going to need you. Unless it was just that Ennis pitched it. You know, he's like, oh, and by the way, I also want to do a Thor book. Hard R. And I'm like,
Okay,
okay.
Thor.
So the story opens, of course, in Norway in the year 1003, so that it could be 1,000 years later because this book came out in 2003.
Ah, okay.
And so we see like a host of Vikings, and they are, assaulting and pillaging throughout the land, as was the popular conjecture of Vikings.
Singing their popular Viking songs.
Of course, yes. You'll see them do all the hallmarks of Vikings.
Yeah.
They row big ships. They sing merry songs. They assault women.
They stab people.
They kill people with their big blunt blades.
There's drinking songs in the halls.
Oh yeah, they drink mead or ale, and they slaughter animals and consume them. Are you done with the last of the women? Great. Now put them to the sword and we can go get something to eat. Like, okay, Garth, thank you.
Horrible.
By the way, the Vikings and their debauchery is not necessarily the most egregious creative decision that Garth Ennis makes in this book. There'll be a head scratcher later where I'm like, okay, so like there are so many moments where I'm like,
like I get it.
I'm kind of on board, and then I'm completely off board again. And just that's the nature of Garth Ennis. It's just like there's a contingent of people who are just like, I'm in for all of it. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound when it comes to Garth Ennis. I just love it all. Yes. And there's some folk who are like, ew, if it's Garth Ennis, it's edgelord garbage and I want nothing to do with it. And then there's folks like us who remember Preacher and go, I know he's capable.
I know there's good stuff in there, but I also am really grossed out by Wub Wub.
Yeah, there's going to be something in there. There's going to be some of the boys or some proto-boys in there. That's just going to make you go, okay, well, eventually we're going to get to love, right?
Oh.
No.
That got dark, man.
Not the meat man, no! Let's have some meat and drink and toast our leader, whose name is Lord Harold Yakelson.
Okay. Is that him?
This is he.
Okay.
Drinking what is...
Cool.
Oh, it's Jackal. Jackalson. Jackal? Jackal.
They do actually Thor calls him Jackal's son. It's like a point of derision. It's a bastardization of his name, but yeah. So Yakelson's like, all right, well, man, I think the idea was, his argument is, we were warriors for the king, and we helped expand the lands for him, but then he was done with us. He was like, oh, your methods are too horrible and debaucherous and monstrous, and so now you guys have to, and so basically he sacked his own country.
Oh.
Yakelson's like, how dare you, tell me to be a Viking and then ask me to dial it back a notch.
Stop being a Viking, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's...
Every Viking is at an 11.
Right.
That's right. So, he did. And so we see that, we're actually in the King's Hall and everyone's strung up by their throats, and it's just a gore fest.
Yeah.
And he's like, anyway, so I'm done here. Obviously, all of the land is going to turn on us because we sacked a sovereign...
Our home.
Our own home. So we're going to go to the New World, where they have no jurisdiction, and where I hear we could do all kinds of crazy shit. That's the plan. I've heard of a land beyond Greenland.
Right.
That's
a newfound land.
So that's the plan. We're going to get in our boat. We're going to go to what will be the continental United States.
Okay.
And while that's happening, the village wise man, who was left for dead, returns to his feet, notices that he hasn't been slaughtered by those guys, and I guess thinks to himself, well, I gotta get slaughtered by these guys. I mean, not really. What he thinks is he's angry and he's resentful, and his family was pillaged and murdered before his eyes. So
I've got nothing else to live for. I might as well go out with a bang.
Well, he looks surprised when they kill him. So I'm like, what did you think was going to happen, sir? I'm surprised he didn't kick in the door of the hall and go hey, you bastards! And then just go...
Right.
Just have them all laugh. Yeah,
why are you killing me?
All this iron in my body. But no, instead he gets a magic rune. And he essentially curses them. So he waits for Yakelson and his merry band of Vikings to get onto their boat, and he's just like, boo! You guys suck!
I hate you!
I hate you!
Hey!
Hey, we don't suck!
You suck!
Oh God, the tide's taking us out, but I'm coming back!
Hey, fuck you, buddy! I'm not your buddy, guy!
I'm not your guy, friend!
I'm not your friend, guy! I hate you.
I hate you the most, Jankelson, ooh, because you're the main bad guy of the book.
Right.
And so he pulls out this rune, the wise man does, along with a blade, and he cuts himself, and he lets the blood pour into the crevices of the rune, and he projects this spell that he doesn't know he's casting, which is basically, he says, though you sail for 1,000 years, O Norseman, you shall not reach the land you seek. Which I think is pretty open and shut. You'll never make it to the new world.
Right.
Well,
But no,
he says for
he
1,000
says
years.
1,000 years.
And
Right.
there's
He
a
means like, but that's forever, because that's an inconceivable amount of time.
So, of course, they fire an arrow at him and he dies. Like, they just shoot him from the,
Right.
bridge of the ship. And I love it because Jankelson himself shoots him. And one of his cronies is like, good shooting. And he says, a lunatic at 50 yards is hardly taxing. Anyway, so then he says, by the blood of my runestone, may the gods hear my curse. And because he was shot by an arrow, like he cut his arm, his blood gets on the runestone. This is an important detail to mention. Basically,
There's even more blood on the runestone.
There's more blood on the runestone than ever before.
A lot of blood on the
That's a
runestone.
lot of blood. And magic is kind of fickle about that. So it's like, that's like a serious
Yeah, this wasn't like
Right.
I prick my thumb and wipe a little bit on
Right,
there.
no, that's like according to the gods or magic or whatever. He was like, oh, you made a straight up like life sacrifice.
Oh,
Right.
you meant it.
yeah, you meant it. So of
Some
course,
people really phone that part in.
Yeah.
You went whole hog.
exactly. Yeah, some people are doing like a diabetic test. You killed yourself. So Jankelson and his people, of course, they sail them. And we see them like encountering cruise ships and battleships and stuff because they just keep sailing. And because they're focused on their task, and because time slips through their fingers like sands in the hourglass, they're like they don't notice that they like run out of provisions, but it doesn't seem to matter.
Right.
So they just keep sailing, and of course, because they're on a ship, and I guess they don't really die.
Right.
They just get like horrible forever scurvy, because their bodies are like, it's just you're on an open boat for 1,000 years, and you don't have fruit. So
I mean, you're also gonna get like really tan.
you're gonna get tan. You're gonna get all kinds of infections.
How does the boat
Oh, think about
survive?
the splinters.
I guess because the boat is also magic now, because it is, and it gets to fly and stuff.
Well, they're cursed, and the vessel they're on is also probably part of that curse.
Yeah.
sure, yeah,
It's
because
like-
they have to sail.
Well, it
It's
has
all
to
about
be in
part of
order
have
for
to
the
sail.
sailing part
Yeah,
to be
if
held true.
if you need to be able to sail for 1,000 years, that boat better be 1,000 years guaranteed.
Seaworthy. Yeah. Okay.
So it's a fun
So
idea.
do they turn into skeletons? I mean, I've read this book, but I don't remember. Do they like literally like be
They
skeletons?
look like
or-
zombies. Like
Zombies,
they
okay.
Jankelson loses an eye. It's just
But they're not like aware
no.
that they're gross.
No, but even then, it doesn't really come up. It's not
They're
like,
all being
oh,
very
look at
polite.
me! They're like, ooh, Jankelson's really letting himself go, but I won't say anything, lest I be cast overboard and then just be a guy on the bottom
Or
of
just
the...
like everybody except me looks really gross. That's kind of weird.
No, we have no mirrored surfaces except for our weapons, but yeah. So, anyway, they end up in the harbor of New York City, which of course is Garth Ennis' favorite city in the world. So if you read Preacher, there's like a whole unnecessary chapter of Preacher where they go to New York, and Jesse Custer says like, I love New York. I'm from Texas. I've never been in New York, and it's amazing. This is the best city in America, in the world. I love it. And I'm
And they're all like, fuck you! Fuck you, you hip piece of shit!
yeah, but still, no, Garth is like, I love it. I love America, especially New York. Everything sucks and everything's ruined except for Superman and New York. New York gets a pass. It's like, all right,
Why?
Garth. Why? The pizza's just so good.
And he's right.
Of course it is. You're from Texas. No, if you're from Ireland. Texas or Ireland, it ain't gonna be good.
No.
Anyway, so they end up in the harbor. Of course, they Statue of Liberty. It's like they're immigrants.
Right.
Oh, it's like a twisted Ellis Island kind of situation. But as you can see, they're like they look like a mess.
Yeah.
And so they arrive, and like this big Viking ship like pulls up into the harbor, and so all these passerby in New York are like, are they shooting a movie or something? What the hell's
what
going
is
on?
this?
So this dude's like, hey man, what's going on? Boom, sword through the face.
Just right up in there.
He goes, what are you guys here for? Everything. Stab, cut it. And then Jankelson just flings him like several yards by
Right.
his head with his sword. And one person is just like, oh, run. There's like a crowd of people. This is real? What's happening? Like,
Right.
oh my God, are you serious? Just run. And then immediately, the woman who says like, wait, this can't be real, can it? She gets a sword right through the middle of her head. Just dunk.
Yes.
Cops show up. They're like, what is happening? By the way, if you are lucky enough to get a copy of Thor Vikings in floppy, this book will be a time capsule of everything 2003, and specifically horrible decisions by Marvel. Not only will you get ads for The Matrix Reloaded, but you will also get full-page ads advertising a little book called Trouble. And so you can't say that they didn't know what was coming. Like, you can't say that no one saw this and went, and immediately contacted Marvel and was like, what's up with the age-inappropriate promotion in this book? What is Trouble? What is this? The story that couldn't be told in the Marvel Universe. What? And Marvel's like, no. Let's put it out anyway.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. You're going to love it.
It's advertising.
It certainly couldn't be a blight on our career.
Well, I guarantee you they're 18. Are they?
No, I can't. The photographer's French, and we don't know the identities of these children.
Great. Oh, that's perfect. That's just...
Oh, yeah, we love that. So the cops are, they show up, they're like, dispatch, we got swords? And then an axe hits him in the face, like, just, So one of the cops is a woman. She attacks the Vikings. The Vikings take her head off, and Yagelson's like, what land is this that sends women to fight for them? Like, this is his culture shock.
Right.
But then he sees these, like, towers, all the, iconography of New York City, and he's just like, what is this? Like, they have cathedrals. And
this is insane.
This is crazy.
It's insane.
How did they build all this?
Yeah. Another cop car shows up. Yagelson grabs the hood of the cop car and then just flips it.
So they're super strong?
Yes. Because
the curse didn't say that.
No, it didn't, but don't worry.
You row a ship for 1,000 years to see if you don't get really strong.
I guess that's it.
No, it's not ripped. It's the magic. The magic has completely run amok because of the bumbling of the spell.
Maybe it was because, like, look, I got to keep these bodies together. If I didn't have this, like,
they need super strength
on them, they'd just be falling apart.
Yeah, they'd be like, okay.
Oh no.
I'm gonna, and his arm just flies off.
Exactly.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like a monkey's paw. It's
a monkey's paw.
Well, who lives for 1,000 years? Like, only gods. Therefore, they must become gods. Some like twisted logic.
You're really reading into this monkey's paw.
Here's what it is. Garth Ennis wanted them to be able to fight Thor.
Yeah.
That's it.
Otherwise, Thor would mop the floor with them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they would just be dead instantly.
Yeah, they'd be dead.
And the Avengers and everybody.
Right, exactly. However, there is a character that Garth Ennis has absolutely no respect or regard for that shows up in the middle of this book and then just monologues a half-assed explanation for why they do it. And the explanation is basically just like the wise man was an idiot and he didn't know he was dabbling in powers he couldn't possibly comprehend. And because he didn't anticipate dying or having his blood all pour onto the rune, it caused the spell to go even further past 11.
Oh yeah, it went berserk.
And magic...
It went to the max.
Right, and magic is also like a fickle genie that is let out of a lamp and wants to screw over the wisher. So it's never just like, I wish for $1 million. It's like, okay, but you stole that money and now you're going to jail.
Right.
Like, it's always looking for a way to screw you over. And so when you say, may you sail for 1,000 years, you're going to sail for 1,000 years, but you are going to make it.
Right.
And also, because they're able to get there, they're like super strong. It's
Right, because that would make the guy who made the curse even more unhappy.
Exactly.
Oh, and they're also like undefeatable and invincible? But that's not what I wanted at all.
No, and it's like, but that doesn't even jive with it.
Well, that wasn't even part of it. He didn't specify anything about their physical capabilities.
But that's also part of the part of the explanation.
Right.
Where it's just like, and also they're strong. Like, but it was a blood curse, so we will need that blood to uncurse it, which isn't really how it works at the end, but also it's not quite how we don't undo the curse, It's we'll get into it.
Okay.
So Yakelson is just like, he's piling up bodies and burning them and taking his way with women, and one of them is like brought before him. He's like, he hasn't actually assaulted anyone yet. The Vikings bring a woman before him. He's like, oh yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, now I can really get down.
It's been 1,000 years.
It's been 1,000 years. So then the thunder cracks and Thor calls down from the heavens. He goes, hold. For so says Thor, who comes to send thee back below. Thor assumes these guys are demons or damned souls or zombies, something like that.
Because that's what they look like.
That's what they look like. And so he stands between the young lady and the Vikings. She runs away, and immediately, Yakelson's like, Thor.
Whoa.
And he goes, heh. That's the end of the first issue. It's just him being like, Thor. Because I guess Yagelson's also like an atheist.
Oh, I just assumed he was just like, I'm meeting the gods. Clearly, I'm the best Viking.
You know, that I like that. And it's not that. Because also, Ennis is very anti-religion. Even the Nordic ones. And so you can imagine him just being like, no, I want Yagelson to be like just that jaded and...
Yeah, it's like, ugh, you suck,
Yeah,
Thor.
no. I love the idea that Yagelson's like, if Thor came to greet me, that means that I have risen to God status. Take me to Valhalla or take me to Asgard, where I will challenge Odin. You know what I mean? But like, no. He's like, no, I 1,000 years ago, I wanted to take over the New World. I'm here at the New World. I'm ready to take it over. I am starting really well because I'm able to like lift cars and shit.
I've been here 10 minutes.
And I can resist bullets.
And already the God of Thunder has come to challenge me.
Yes.
Clearly, I'm the shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let him stand in my way.
Well,
No.
he's not even a god, so I'm also not scared,
Yes.
right? Like, that's not real.
Right. Right. Because if I'm...
Or it's just part of the world. It's not like, he's not like above me.
Well, I'm a puny human and I am as powerful as Thor, or at least I'm super strong,
Yeah.
which means there are no gods.
Right.
So that means that Thor can't stand. It would be cool if like Yagelson's like, Thor! You know, and then he like immediately starts like doing like, you know, a ritual, like like he worships Thor.
No, it's like, Thor, I want to punch him in the face.
Yes.
I get to punch Thor in the face
yes,
now.
but I would
I always
rather him
wanted to.
like maybe he's jaded by Thor. Like maybe he worships Thor and Thor's like, don't worship me. This is hardly a
You're terrible
monument.
people.
You're monsters. Then he attacks him and Yagelson's like, oh.
Oh, you're like a bullshit
you're
Viking.
weak.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Nope, it's just, oh, Thor's here? Well, then I'm going to beat the shit out of Thor.
Right. Because even Vikings just want to fight their gods.
Yeah.
Or at least these ones.
I guess.
Yeah.
So he's just like, you don't have any idea who I am. Like, you think I'm a zombie or something. You don't even know that I'm just a living I'm a living Viking. I'm from the time. And so Thor immediately just like busts out Mjolnir. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to cave in this guy.
Right.
So he goes, it was no underworld that spat me out. Never have I felt the cold embrace of soil. You think me a maggot? Strike and see. Thor brings down Mjolnir on Yagelson, and it makes a horrible cracking sound. Yagelson makes no flinch and then says, that was not my skull breaking. Thor's wrists are broken, and his hands dangle like marionette puppets.
What?
And then he turns to the...
That's some curse.
Yeah, right? Well, because of all the blood.
Right.
Super magic.
Wow.
That's insanely stupid.
That's bonkers.
No.
No. Straight up no.
Yeah.
What character in Marvel can even do that?
Like the Living Tribunal.
Yeah, right? Like,
Like, you know...
and this guy.
Right. Yeah, and
random girl
Harold
Viking.
Yagelson. Harold Yagelson is the most powerful villain in the Marvel Universe. Title of episode. Rob from Comics Explained makes a video about it. Because the other Vikings are with him, because like, you know, Thor just appeared from the heavens and challenged their leader, and so they're all there with him, and he's
Right.
like, be Vikings. No, I got it. So the Vikings just go off and do all their horrible shit throughout Manhattan while Yagelson just backhands Thor around. And so like the streets run red with the blood of Manhattanites, and it's just a...
Yeah, I'm a little confused as to how this book is going to end now.
I know, it gets really dark. And it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
I'm really glad I didn't know about the second issue.
No, I know. That's why I was like, that's a fun show.
Oh, look, they murder a school bus full of children.
Yeah. Well, no, first they go into an aerobics class, and I assume they have their way with
Yes.
them, and then murder them, and then they just enter a school bus and slaughter all the children inside. I'm like, do they kill kids too? And it's like,
Well,
oh, you know, first issue established that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like, of course we're going to kill the kids. That way they can't get vengeance upon us.
Exactly. I
Right.
know the lineage.
Right.
Okay, we get it. The Vikings take over Manhattan. Like, they ruin everything. But no, how about a funny scene where there's like a news correspondent and he's talking about the carnage below, and then a Viking just bursts in from behind the studio and just pops his head off. And then a couple of guys are at the
Does that
bar.
remind me of Kentucky Fried Movie?
They're watching TV at the bar, seeing that, and they're like, I should probably go home. And then a Viking sneaks up behind them and then just lops off all their heads in one swift blow.
What are the Vikings trying to do?
They're not trying to have fun, be Vikings. What Vikings are, they're uncomplicated creatures. They need to slake their lust.
Yeah, but
they need to murder people, and they need
And
to
make little
eat.
Vikings.
And
No,
make
but
little
they're
Vikings.
but they're
They're
able to like
sharks of the-
build
of the-
ships that can like cross the ocean and stuff. They have like engineers and
Right,
like they do all
and
that.
once they do, we kill them too. Like I don't know, because they're weak. I don't. Yeah, right. Like,
Like,
just,
where did you get that boat though?
I know, right?
No, I was just gonna say like, oh, they can do that if they have to.
Oh yeah, I know. Like when push comes to shove, I can also like
Like
grow
are they
crops.
trying to like capture territory? Like what are they?
No, according to Garth Ennis, what Vikings do best
They murder.
Is they murder people. They're human suffering made manifest. That is what they do best. They kill people with shiny, blunt, and sharp weapons.
Right.
And also they like.
This reminds me a lot of Crossed.
Oh yeah, well Garth Ennis.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Every Garth Ennis book will remind you of the previous one. And also it's the boys, but thankfully there's no moment where like the Vikings burst into Avengers Mansion while they're having an orgy or something. Like at least we
Right.
don't have that. You can imagine that was
Yet.
definitely on the first draft. And
Right.
some Casada was like,
No.
you can't do that.
Right. You can do almost
Look, we can
anything
do a
else.
lot of things, but not that.
Exactly. So Yackelson like makes fun of Thor, calls him a pretender. So I guess the idea is either Yackelson doesn't believe he is Thor, or that Thor isn't really a
Like
god.
even the concept of Thor is wrong. You're just a liar that you're a god. You're not a god. You're just a guy.
Exactly. The police are trying to cross town when they encounter a wall made of human heads.
That seems very.
I'm like,
unlikely.
that's 30,000 people.
Right. There's no way it would take
Just the
forever
heads?
to kill that many people with swords and axes.
Well,
and
no,
stuff.
not but they're super
And to collect
now.
the heads and put them all together.
Well, you saw how many heads were lopped off in the last 3 pages.
I know, but that's a lot of work to
But there are a lot
gather
of
them all, and
Vikings.
that's time that you're not
Are
killing
there?
people.
I thought there were like.
It was like one boat.
30 of them.
Yeah, it was a boat of Vikings. When they're all super powerful, that's a lot of Vikings. I mean, you know,
How long has it been? It looks like it's been like a couple hours.
it's been a couple of
I
hours.
don't understand how they could rack up that amount
That kind of body count? I
yeah.
don't know. I mean, when they set their mind to it, they can build ships that can cross many vast oceans.
Right.
I kind of figure like this is one of those situations where the Vikings are just way too good,
Right. Yeah, they're OP.
and everyone in New York is just like, look, I'm from New York, I've seen it all. Vikings,
Right.
Yeah.
Right, nobody even runs away.
Initially, all the characters are like that. They are.
I gotta get down to Wall Street and trade.
Yeah.
Lop your
Call
head
it
off.
when the Mad Thinker shows up, or when Mr. Hyde starts attacking.
Well, in fairness, yes, right?
Right.
Like because so much
I
has
live for
happened.
Galactus, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to get killed by a Viking.
I don't think so, and that is
Bop.
part of the problem with the book. It's like, but how? How are these Vikings so much more powerful than any like villain that's ever like attacked
because of
Manhattan?
magic and stuff. So then Yackelson, he's like, I understand the enchantment of Mjolnir. I can't lift it, okay? But you can, which is my loophole. So he wraps a chain around Thor's neck and affixes it to Mjolnir, and then drags Thor, which drags Mjolnir, to the edge of the harbor, and then just pitches Thor into the harbor. So that Mjolnir will drag him to the bottom, and then he'll just stay there. He's like, I bet you won't die. Like, I bet you can't die because you are of Asgard. But when you get there, tell Odin that I'm coming too.
Somehow I'm gonna get
Like
to,
somewhere, just don't come down here again.
right.
So Thor is just pitched into the harbor, and he's like, I'll build my kingdom here.
How does Yackelson?
Yeah, Yackelson.
How does he lose an eye?
Because he looks cooler with one eye.
Right. Like, how does the magic determine that he decayed in that specific way?
Right?
Why not both eyes? Like,
Yeah.
what was wrong? What happened?
I like
that
Ben's
caused-
theory. He ate his own eye.
Maybe he ate it.
Because they don't need to eat. But maybe they like to.
I was gonna say maybe it was like one of those things where like, oh, if they fight each other, they
Yeah.
can damage each other.
That'd be cool too.
oh, maybe.
Again, doesn't come up, but I assume it can't. So then
and now the ship flies.
oh yeah, so he's like, okay, everybody, get on the ship, let's go. So they'll get in the boat, and then the boat just takes off into the air.
What?
Because now the boat can fly, because I guess Yackelson wants to.
Why didn't that happen before?
Right, why? Because they were sailing. You had to sail to the
Why
new
sail
world
for
a
a
Why
thousand
is
thousand
it
years.
breathing fire? It's a wooden ship.
Yeah, but it's also a magic wooden ship. So, the army and the SWAT are all there. They've like basically created like an entire wall of army.
Right.
They've created an entire army that's like waiting to battle with Yackelson and his hordes. They've sailing across the skies with their Viking ship. One of the leaders of the regular army is like, fire! And he goes, good idea. And then the mouth of his dragon blasts magic hellfire on people, which incinerates them immediately. Then everyone just hops off the boat and starts killing them all with spears and swords and whatnot. And then, because they retreat and all of Manhattan's forces are defeated and humiliated, Yackelson has his way with Manhattan. Like everyone like locks the doors and hopes that like Yackelsson's only coming for the neighbor, but eventually he comes for you too. And you're just like, what?
Where are the other superheroes? Like, why did the army respond faster than any other hero?
The Avengers are based in Manhattan.
Right.
What are you doing?
Where's Spider-Man?
Right. Thank God he's not in this.
Yeah.
So while that's happening, Thor eventually fishes himself out of the harbor, with his limp
Busted
With his
hands.
floppy
T-Rex.
hands.
Sure,
Yeah.
So he just slumps against some concrete wall and he says, "Strange." And Doctor Strange says, "Oh, downright bizarre, I'd say."
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of figured that'd be the cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kept talking about magic.
Of
Yeah,
course, what's
it's gotta
magic?
be magic.
Doctor Strange. Yay. Also, peculiar design.
Yeah, what? He looks wrong.
Yeah. That's what
Everything-
happens when you go off model. But the Eye of Agamotto is now like a chest emblem that he has. It's like embedded in his shirt or whatever. Who cares? The cloak of limitation is more like a coat.
Or
They
a
do that
robe.
sometimes. You'll see that John Romita Jr. did the exact same thing in Spider-Man at the time. So, sure. But
It's just his face looks wrong, and also his clothes look wrong, so he just looks really wrong. He just looks like a different guy.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't match any part of what I'm familiar with, so
yeah.
I'm not going to give you credit.
Oh, Doctor Strange. Wait, Doctor Strange?
Is that Doctor Strange? It's like, sure.
Strange?
Why not?
You're vaguely reminiscent of him.
Does it matter?
I guess not. Also, Doctor Strange he speaks like he's British, even though he's from America.
Right.
Because Ennis doesn't care about Doctor Strange, so he's just like whatever. But I guess because you'd imagine Doctor Strange is erudite enough to sound British.
Right.
Maybe he has a transatlantic accent or something. According to Strange,
he's just he's very pretentious.
yes, that. And borderline racist as well. This is the most 2003 book we'll ever read. It is an ad for Trouble, an ad for JLA Avengers, an ad for the DVD release of Daredevil starring Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck, an ad for the School of Rock movie,
An ad for Dead Like
an
Me.
ad like Dead Like Me and Matrix 2. It's just like, come on. But I mean, listen, if you want an encapsulation of what it was like to be in 2003, I mean, this book was just like, people, I assume, were excited. I didn't even hear about this book when it came out.
I like that when Yagelsson throws Thor in the harbor, you can see those trash down there.
Yeah, well, it's New York Harbor right on the
Like
edge.
a bicycle,
sure.
a table,
Yeah.
a tire.
Right? Greatest city in the world.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, the most unbelievable thing about that is that you can actually see that through the water.
That's
Well,
true.
yeah, you wouldn't
That's
be able
for
to
our
see.
benefit.
No, yeah.
So
The camera's a good 5 feet away. No, just pitch black.
just darkness, just cloud or dark. But yeah, so the mayor wasn't on hand, by the way. Of course, Ennis wants to make a joke about politics and bureaucracy. So the mayor is on the Brooklyn side of the river, and he's being interviewed about how oh, we can't call Manhattan a complete disaster yet. We'll get it under control. And then a spear goes through his face.
I was gonna say you have the heads of 30,000 people that made a wall.
Yeah.
Manhattan's lost, man.
Right. And at the very least, you've lost the vote. You ain't getting reelected.
Yeah.
So, Yackelson, of course, threw it because he's the coolest, most badass, awesome
Sure, he
fighter
threw it
in
from
the world.
across the river.
And first time,
Yeah.
right? One of his guys has another spear, goes, first time. I don't need this any.
I don't miss.
Yeah. So Yackelsson's like, I need a throne now. This city is mine. I've conquered it. So he finds the Empire State Building and he's like, I'm going to build a throne on top of the tallest building.
Okay.
So here we go. That's my plan now. This is what they do. Instead of
Right.
metallurgy or agriculture, they have one focus, which is I want a chair.
It's
Right.
concrete.
Made out of bones.
A second ago it was just killing everyone that you could find.
Yeah, now we did. And we didn't kill everyone, by the way.
Oh.
We started to, but we realized, wow, there's a really big city, bottomless people. So now we can have them do stuff for us.
Oh, I see. So we got tired of that.
Well, I mean, for now, we'll never
see.
tire. We're Vikings.
I mean,
after all.
Right.
once we got enough people killed,
Yeah,
now we can have them bend to our will.
Once we built the wall of heads.
that really demoralized them.
Yeah, we
now
needed
they'll
that
start
wall.
working for us.
Yeah.
Yackelson also tells Thor to die the straw death. It's one of his
What does that mean?
And Strange asks the same question because Strange's like, I saw Yackelson hand you your ass and pitch you in the river, and that's when I was going to fish you out, but you mustered your strength, you fished yourself out. But what is the straw death? And Thor's like, thanks for not helping. He's like, yeah, he can't be stopped. I need.
Yeah, what was I supposed to
What
do?
am I going to do? He just kill me. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But Thor's like, yeah, the straw death is a coward's death. It's dying by natural causes in your bed.
Ah, your bed of straw. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
It's a pretty good insult for Viking.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Thor heals, I guess, because he's magic or something. Or
Right, he's got a healing factor.
Yeah, he does have a healing factor. So Thor eventually his wrists mend and everything, and they're just hanging out at the sanctum.
It looks like he's wearing little exercise wristbands.
That's what just Thor always wears those.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go back to all your old Thor books and take a look, and you will see that he is wearing essentially wrist warmers from the 80s.
Sweatbands.
Yeah, sweatbands, if you will.
Sweatbands, yeah.
So Strange begs Thor's forgiveness for the mess in the sanctum. There's usually a little foreign fellow that tidies up in here, but I don't know where he's gone to. And I'm like, Strange would not.
Why would Strange call him that?
He would not.
That's what you would call him, Garth, not...
No, whoa! I'm just a writer. Don't kill the messenger. I'm making fun of Doctor Strange. And if I'm making fun of Doctor Strange, he can't have any integrity.
Look, I know
Right.
the British, and the British are, assholes, and they judge people.
Right,
based on
and
their
they're
race.
very racist.
Okay, but Doctor Strange isn't British.
Well, no, are you sure? Anyway, I've already sent it off to the editor. So...
Well, he's an asshole enough to be British.
Right, and also, I think it's kind of weird that a affluent white man has a diminutive Asian person in his employ and refers to him as a manservant. Maybe that's more problematic than me calling attention to it and making him more racist than the circumstances allow. So Strange offers to figure this out. Obviously, he says that they're from the era. He's like, okay, so time is the answer. Well, we'll go into my time room. And he goes into this big void where time is visualized as an actual, literal flowing river that flows above their heads. He's like, I like to come in here just to kind of clear my head. And he runs his fingers through it, and you could see he calls to the time period, and he finds Yakelson and his time period. He's like, okay, we are dealing with time traveling Vikings, but they're not but they did it the old fashioned way by actually living through the periods. So he's like, okay, so what? And he's like, oh, and we can't go back in time and stop him then. So don't ask. It's just against
It's not
against
that kind
the
of
rules.
book. Oh, I see.
But I see. So he sees the wise man
You never traveled through time before?
who's strange.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he 100%
Then
has.
why is it against the rules?
Well, because it would be, because then it would end the book.
Because then I wouldn't have to fight them to beat them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because...
You could have done that. You could have had Thor go back in time, but one of the, there's always a cost or some nonsense. So, Thor has to give away his powers to go back in time, so Thor can only fight Yakelson mano-a-mano.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Right? There you go. No. Let's do something really weird. So Strange is like, all right, so he sees the wise man who's affectionately referred to as wise man, but no, he's an idiot. He's a fool, stupid moron, a caveman, doesn't know anything.
Oh.
He's just dabbling in powers he doesn't understand, playing with runes. What a dumbass. Because Doctor Strange is also, condescending all the time.
Right.
Yeah, see, the spell is still running while he lives, and there's nothing to stop the stone from drinking all his blood. And then suddenly the spell becomes 1,000 times more powerful.
Okay.
And also, don't forget that magic is also a vengeful genie that wants to screw you over. It's a monkey's paw.
So,
Right.
is it that he cursed them for 1,000 years, but because the blood got into it, now it's going to be 1,000 years?
Right, yeah, something
so
like that.
A million years?
Right, they'll never stop or whatever.
Right.
Because, they got here, it's 1,000 years.
Well, it's
apparently it should be over.
Yeah.
it should be over, but it's not. It
No.
just kept going.
And it's even worse.
Right, because he didn't really say what happened next.
Yes.
And so Magic's like, oh, well, then I get to kind of make it up as I go.
Right. Yeah.
But Mjolnir's magic, why can't that hurt him? I don't understand.
It can, but you chose to hold it while you were trying to attack him. Except also, Mjolnir should have taken his head off because it's magic to... Don't think about it.
Right.
Because we
Because
want...
Garth certainly didn't.
Because I think Garth thinks Yakelson's cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I can't... I
He's
shouldn't
too
have had
cool for you to
Thor
just
fight
hit with
him
a
in the
hammer.
first issue.
No, well, then it'd be a one-shot,
Yeah.
That'd be almost subversive and funny if, Yakelson is this awesome badass, and he's just on 1,000 years, and it's oh no, and you got a ship full of zombie Vikings, and then Thor shows up and just caves his head in the first issue.
Right.
And he's like, well, that was stupid, and then the book's over. That sounds like a one-shot during The Boys.
Right.
And then Thor has a heart attack while having sex with 3 men. So anyway, Thor complains about how just because this man spilled blood, we have to endure his mistakes, and that gives Strange an idea because it's this man's blood which caused this curse in the first place, so we need to use his blood to uncurse it. Now, we can't just go over there and scoop it up and make a spell, because that's not interesting, and it wouldn't be able to sustain 2 more issues.
Well, his blood is 1,000 years ago. There's nothing...
No, well, like, look, I'm looking through, like, a mirror waterfall. Why don't I just splash through it and grab it? But, like, no, I can't do that. Instead, we'll use my awesome new river thing that we're never seeing again, and he's going to check this wizard wise man's bloodline and find warriors who can fight Yakelson.
And what we'll have to do is gather all their blood.
Yeah,
because it's
kill
diluted.
them. Yeah, no. They carry the wise man's blood in their veins, and therefore they also can participate in the curse. And so he picks warriors, because there's a lot of people.
Why does this guy even have a bloodline? Like,
Right?
everyone he knows was murdered.
Yeah, his family was murdered in front of him, like we established literally in this issue. But no, he had lots of kids. I guess because he's Norse or something, and he had like
Oh, the
lots
wise
of
man
them.
got around all the time.
Yeah, he was pretty old.
Like
so,
village to
yeah.
village.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And no, he has like a ton of family. Like Ennis makes sure to mention
I
he's
see.
got lots and lots. Like there's his progeny during his lifetime: 2 sons and a daughter. Another generation, we got grandchildren: 8 boys, 7 girls. 2 more, we got a century after his death, over 200 descendants. Let's go. And so he's like, we don't need farmers and fishermen, we need warriors. So we find Sigurd. And Sigurd is kind of like a Viking descendant who is a tall, awesome female badass. Kind of like Brave. You know,
Okay.
she wants to prove herself and be cool, and she's really well trained and all this stuff, but everyone doesn't take her seriously because she's a girl. And so she's dismayed because she'll like live a life of servitude and femininity when she really wants to be a warrior. And so we get
Yeah, but nobody's a warrior. Join like the military.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
No,
You're cosplaying as a Viking. These people aren't killing anybody.
Is that now or is this then?
No, this is years after the wise man, but still.
Oh, this is still in Viking
No, we're
times.
talking about Viking times.
Oh, I thought this was a current descendant.
No,
Okay.
no. This is a descendant. We're going to go through centuries to pick up descendants of the wise man, and we're going to get 3 of them because Thor has 3 warrior friends, typically in mythology.
So he can pluck other people from time, but not the wise man himself.
Yes.
What?
Right. Why doesn't he pluck the wise man before he dies?
Right.
Take some blood.
No,
make a
because
spell?
he's already dead.
Right.
But you have access to time travel.
Right. Because these guys are
Because I
dead
can't-
too.
Maybe because I can't change what happened.
We can't change what happened. They have to go back where they came from when it's over.
Right.
Even though I'm risking their deaths
Well, but
because they're going to fight the Vikings.
Couldn't you get this guy's blood like from before and then just put him back? You know,
Yeah.
just take it out, put it in a vial, and be like, okay, go back.
Yup.
Sorry, you still have to die like you did. I just needed your blood.
Yes. Yes, we could definitely do that. But then you wouldn't meet these fun characters. Like Sigurd,
Sure.
the tall, awesome Viking badass woman that is a victim of misogyny throughout her village. So she's lamenting her misfortunes to her father when she disappears. And her father's like, oh, have the gods answered my prayers? You know, because she's a woman and she nags me all the time. Like,
She's so weird.
yeah, and she just won't like do what she's supposed to.
But she's not a man. She can't go hunting.
Right, so she disappears and joins Doctor Strange and Thor in their time room. So then we meet up with Magnus of the Danes, who is a Crusades knight that is just slaughtering people, and he's just a big, stupid joke. You never see his face. He wears this insane helmet, and he's just slaughtering people. In the name of Jesus Christ, I will save you! And just cutting off their heads. And just, who does not accept the endless love of the Lord our Savior Jesus Christ? He's just stabbing someone like just viciously to death. He's the biggest, most baddest knight of the Crusades.
He's got a big baby face and a tiny penis.
Right, definitely. That's I'm sure the joke. But we don't ever get to see either his penis or his face. So anyway, he's like, oh, so another village turned back to the ways of righteousness. Where have the holy men decided to send us next? France. And before he can go to France, he is brought before Thor and Doctor Strange. Thor's like, Thor has doubts about this one. And Doctor Strange's like,
This
yo,
guy creeps me out.
yeah, you don't want a vet from like look, you don't want a fisherman from like the 12th century, okay? You want a badass who's gonna slaughter Yakelson's friends.
Right. All you care about is defeating Yagelson. It doesn't
Yeah.
really matter.
Couldn't we
cares?
get maybe an army?
Right. No, we need people who are direct descendants from the wise man. So then we go to 1945.
Yeah, direct descendants is probably only like 2.
Yeah. So we go to 1945 when we're dealing with this German fighter pilot. Garth Ennis is like, I want a Nazi in my book. So this fighter pilot Nazi is chosen, and so he gets to go with them.
I'm sorry, does he get to bring his plane with him?
Yes, because they have a flying Viking ship. So now we can get a cool Messerschmitt to fight against a flying Viking ship.
Okay. Normally that would be no contest, but that Viking ship
Yeah, you can
shoots
fire and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure repairs itself when damaged.
Well, it's magic and stuff, so yeah, actually, it's not really a fair fight.
No.
Okay.
And the horse head comes to life and goes, yay!
Yeah.
Do we get
I'll
any?
lead you to victory!
Do we get any commentary on the fact that this guy's a Nazi? Or,
Yes.
well, he might not be a Nazi.
Yes, we do.
I imagine
is.
Captain America
he
hates
is.
it.
Okay.
Captain America is only seen in the end of this issue where the Avengers limp back from fighting Yakelson's crew, and Captain America is dragging Iron Man and says, "Medic, for God's sake!" Because ha ha ha.
Yikes. Yeah, because heroes are stupid.
Yep, and that's the only time you see the Avengers is they are also defeated by how cool
They're there, don't
by
worry.
the coolest guy in the universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this Nazi, German fighter pilot, he hates Hitler, and he would love to see them lose, but knows that if he fights against Hitler, more innocent people will die, so he has no choice but to kill Allied soldiers in his Messerschmitt for the Axis. Like, it's just...
That's shitty writing.
What are you doing?
Okay, if he really felt like that, he has access to a plane, he can just defect.
Right. He could be a defector, he could be an undercover agent that steals a Messerschmitt, but no, because Norse descendants, they're Germany. Also because I'm Garth Ennis, and it has to relate to World War II in some way.
It's funny because Germany invaded both Norway and Denmark, which is where the descendants of this person would logically live.
Right. Well, Manhattan burns and bleeds. Thor and Doctor Strange have a hilarious meet cute with these characters. You know, where they're like, so let me see if I understand this. Like the German is like, let me see if I understand this. And so he just breaks down all the last few issues into one monologue where he's like, and I assume that the fact that we can all understand each other is some kind of magic. And Doctor Strange is like, yes.
Yes. Answer that question.
Yep.
Nerd.
So we see Sigurd and the Crusades guy like admiring the German's plane.
Yeah.
Where he's like, Sir Pilot, this flying steed is intriguing. And behold, it bears the sacred sign of the Iron Cross of Jesus. So I'm on board with you. And Sigurd sees the swastika and she says, and the Triskel, the Nordic symbol of death and rebirth. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, sure, that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, that's the ticket.
Yep. Okay, so we're all on board. Cool.
Sounds good to me.
No more questions need to be asked by anybody.
That's right. Certainly Garth won't be asking any of them.
And don't send me home after this either.
I like how they're impressed by the plane and not just completely dumbfounded and confused. Which
Yeah.
is what they should be because they have no way of conceiving of what they're looking at.
At one point,
At the same time, though, like when Jackelson gets to New York,
yeah. He's like,
Yes.
oh, Bill.
he's like, hey, giant buildings, mechanical cars.
Got it.
I got it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
he's not somehow overwhelmed by how nothing looks
Just
like
drop
anything
to
he
his
has any
knees and
context
cry.
for. Yeah.
Meanwhile, no one born before 1980 can tap their credit card on the machine. They're like, no, I put it in, right?
No, that's right. I have to insert it. I can't swipe anymore. I
Right, I got it.
I got
No,
it.
you just tap it. Just tap it on
nobody
the top
inserts
of the thing.
anymore. That never worked right anyway.
Yeah, it was horrible. Just tap it. Just tap. Tap?
Tap. But how does it know?
Ugh, just give me my latte. So I got a latte here for Charlotte. Got it. You're not Charlotte, but I ordered a latte.
It's my
It is a
latte.
latte, right?
Yeah, but it's not your latte.
But I'm next.
But I've been waiting.
Who's Charlotte? There was no Charlotte.
I'm Charlotte. Thank you. Oh, this woman's just walking off my latte.
She just walked in and grabbed my latte. She didn't even order it.
Cut to Yakelson just pitching cars.
She ordered it over the phone, man. It was a mobile order.
Listen, in
What
2003
the fuck is a mobile order?
What? I didn't order from my car. 2003 was a simpler time.
It was. It was when Vikings stormed Manhattan. When the Vikings took Manhattan.
The Vikings took Manhattan. It's just a gore fest. Just Garth Ennis being like, I want to see more guts. I want to see regular people, from my time with their like stem to stern cut open with the organs spilling out and tied up against West 42nd Street. Ha 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 ha. Look at all these people, all these yuppies in their polo shirts being whipped by Vikings.
I thought you liked Manhattan, man.
I like being there. I don't like the people in it.
I love all of it.
I love how horrible it is and how much everyone sucks.
Yeah,
And like, if everyone died,
Oh man, it was so great.
Think of the amazing landscape.
I'm just every time I'm there, just imagine Vikings pillaging.
Yep.
So great.
I'm just imagining the streets filled.
Because imagine, like, I'm in Ireland, and there's a decent amount of people.
Sure, but
if
they're still rolling
if you just
hills
take
in
a
space.
sword and run down a sidewalk in New York, you get like 400 heads in an hour.
That's true. Yeah. I could run in one direction in Ireland and not hit a single soul. So Yagelson like gathers the men to him, and like there's a huge crowd of people, and he says, "Only kill everyone but the tall ones." And so they all like they just hack down a crowd of people until there's just tall ones left. And they're like, "Why?" And he goes, "I need your long bones from my big chair. That's gonna be made out of your bodies. That's gonna be on top of the Empire State Building." So Strange making a potion in their big blank space of nothing, and he just needs them to share their blood. And
I'm sorry, are they still in like the time wave?
Yeah, they're still in the time room.
Yeah.
Which is nothingness and also the river, but they're like away from the river now, so it's just a big empty space. Because
It's like in Quantum Leap when they're in the...
they're in the waiting room.
Yeah.
In the nothingness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Magnus sees this cauldron, and he's like, "Whoa, what's the cauldron doing here?" Strange goes, "Oh, no, it's a Christian cauldron. It's blessed by the Pope." And he goes, "Okay, so everybody just like cut yourselves a little bit, pour into the elixir, and then you all drink it. Now you'll be part of the curse.
Okay.
So now you'll have the ability as the Vikings do."
Okay.
And Thor's like, "Should I have some?" And he's like, "I would if you were going to fight Yakelson."
I'm
And
sorry.
like, but Thor doesn't have...
Yeah, he doesn't have the bloodline thing.
No, but you drank some of it, so now it's okay.
But they all have the blood in them. Why do they have to spill it to drink
Well,
it?
because Thor needs to drink it.
Yes, but also they do need to drink it though, because it's also the curse. Like it's all part of this like potion they need to be part of. No, it would be cleaner and easier if it's like, no, you share the blood of the wise man, but you don't carry the curse. You weren't
Right, you
cursed
weren't
by the wise man.
cursed. Yeah,
You
we have
just
to
his blood.
recreate the
We're gonna
curse.
use his blood to make the curse, and controllable because Strange is Sorcerer Supreme and not some idiot in a loincloth with a rune.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it focused, so you won't like rot or live for 1,000 years.
I see.
You'll only have the power and none of the drawbacks.
Right. So because I used your blood to make this like adjacent curse to the original curse,
Yes.
you get to be able to deal damage to these guys who are also part of the original curse.
That's right.
But it's not the same.
No.
It's just part of the same family of curses.
That's right. Derived from that one bloodline.
You're right.
I'm sorry, how does the guy with the helmet drink it?
We never see it, but we assume he does it off camera.
Okay, so the fact that
I'm sorry, what is he, Mandalorian?
Yeah.
yeah, you never take that one off.
Yeah, I
No, we
assume.
still want to design his head.
It's more fun to see him like this.
So because Thor can drink the blood,
Yeah.
and
Couldn't the Avengers do that?
anybody could.
Anybody.
You don't even need these three people. You
No, you
just
don't.
send them back.
Yeah, now you're good. But no, these guys are
You
warriors,
didn't
and also I
need
want
to
them.
get warriors.
No, but I want to see this German redeemed for no good reason.
Just like you could have gotten
Yikes.
an army of people. You don't need just
Yep.
three.
You could
Or
just
it's a
give this. You
Thor
could just
book.
go to the
You could've
army
gotten
who's
the
right
Avengers,
there. Yeah.
and then like Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow,
Yeah.
Thor,
Or just the army.
or just the army.
Just
Whoa,
go to
whoa,
all
whoa,
those
no, I have to
soldiers
put
there.
These people back in time. I can't have this idea of a curse lingering around these people. I'm not going to make Captain America drink someone's blood.
You're right. That would be a problem.
Yeah, maybe the real thing is like, look, I don't know if it's gonna work the way I thought it did.
Yeah,
All right, let's just
and
use these guys.
It's these three guys. It's fine.
yeah.
Maybe they go back in time. What about Thor? Thor's a Viking. It doesn't matter. He would have done it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna live forever anyway. So if I
Right.
accidentally make these people live forever, then.
But I won't. Don't worry. They don't. They die. So, not right now, but, of the causes that they deserve.
Yeah.
So,
Deserve.
well, because Sigurd, of course, wants to live a warrior's life,
Right.
so, of course, she dies by the sword. Magnus definitely dies by the sword inevitably, because,
Yeah.
he's just a one-man army.
He's in the Crusades.
He's in the Crusades. He's going to die.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's wearing, what is it, a tabard? He's going to get, pinholed with arrows.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, the second he deals with archers, it's over.
Why is he wearing a full ass huge helmet and no body armor? What is the point
Maybe
of that?
he took it off. Maybe it was heavy.
But he,
I'm not
but he didn't
fighting
take
right
off
now.
the helmet?
Wait,
No.
give me the other one. Give me issue 3.
Yeah, see if he was depicted with full armor before. Yeah.
100% not, and he already has 2 arrows in him at the time.
That's how badass he is. Maybe it's, sacrilege to wear armor. I mean, he's armored up on the legs. You wouldn't know how buff he was, though, if he was covered up all those man candy.
Maybe he doesn't wear the
insane.
armor because it hinders him while fighting.
I mean,
Yeah, that's it.
Probably that.
He needs his arms free.
His muscles
Okay.
are so big that arrows don't even affect him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he doesn't need armor.
Exactly.
Oh, there's his bone
Man,
throne.
he's lopping limb
The bone
from limb.
throne.
It's amazing.
So
Would you like to sit in the bones?
He's as bad as freaking Jackelson.
And he's doing it for Jesus, though.
Oh, that makes it
think-
so much better.
Well, obviously it's
That's
contradictory,
kind
like
of
it's
what he's
hypocritical, it's
saying,
funny.
yeah. But he's not magic. He's
Well,
stoppable.
and Yackelsen's doing it like because he's a fanatic, like he's brought, by the church. Yackelsen's doing it because it's fun,
Right.
because he's a psychopath.
Yeah,
Look, they're both psychopaths.
Yeah. One of them is under orders.
I'm
and the other
using
one
one
is writing
against the other.
orders.
these should be horse bones or cow bones.
No, those are
no
long
one's,
human bones.
No one's bones are that big.
Look, maybe we're seeing cow bones. The long human bones he was referring to are making up like the inner workings of the chair. Look at how many bones are part of this chair.
Right.
And their heads.
I
too.
just love that, like, was he making bone chairs back
Before?
or
No,
did
I don't
he
think he had access
decide
to enough
to
people.
start making bone chairs? I mean, he
'cause
did.
remember,
They killed the whole village.
He was an agent of the king before he sacked him.
Right.
So I think he never had a throne, and it's like, if Yackelsen's going to have one, it better be made of bones.
Right. So
know?
this guy was going insane.
Yeah.
As the first book started. Like that was him like losing it. Like he's not like a normal Viking.
No.
He's like,
Although, it's hard to argue that the rest of the Vikings,
well, they all work for him.
you're right, they're just following orders.
Right, they're just following orders.
Like
Much
this,
like the
this German
pirates.
pilot.
like the,
Oh, the pilot. I was going to talk about like the pirates and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah, like the Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah.
yeah.
Which is a movie around this time. Yackelsen's skyship is like patrolling Manhattan, and Yackelsen has like an unfamiliar feeling that might be construed as fear, which makes they describe it as the ball of maggots in his breast beat faster. I guess that means his heart, because he doesn't have one.
Right.
That's what a monster he is. But he basically feels like there's
Something coming.
Something coming. A storm is
Yeah.
coming.
Better get home quick.
That's right.
Yeah, Annie.
So then Magnus and Sigurd and the German and Doctor Strange and Thor all go
And the
to
German.
the German. They all go to Manhattan.
Hey, he's a Nazi.
Yeah, so they're all in like Central Park and they're just kind of like admiring Manhattan because how could you not? Manhattan is just so great and beautiful, even though it must like reek of copper.
And shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too. Don't forget all the poop. But yeah, so everyone's taken aback. I just love there's a moment where everyone just takes a minute to enjoy how amazing Manhattan is. Of course, you could also tell they love it because there's no people around them.
Right.
Of course, what makes Manhattan great is none of the people. So while they're hanging out, a couple of Vikings, because of course like they're on patrol, like making sure that Manhattan is procured and
Right.
Again, there's 30 Vikings, and Manhattan is massive.
Yeah, well, I only need to put like 3 per borough, So anyway, these guys find them, and so they walk up, and they're like, I love Sigurd being like, "Are these the guys we're talking about?" Thor's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And then
anyone who looks like you, and that's not me.
exactly. So then Sigurd like just cuts one in twain. Magnus bashes one together with his flail, and then Thor whips out Mjolnir and just home runs him.
What, like send them
I
flying
hope
through
he
the air.
runs him to the point where his skull and spine leave his body.
While Yackelsen rides his sky ship, going to face whatever foe he felt might be coming for him, he sees the guy who got hit by Thor like sail past him with his head caved in. Just like.
Nice.
Then, of course, the German attacks them in his ship. He's just like firing at them.
Yeah.
But running out of ammo as he does so.
Right.
I'm sorry they didn't feed the blood to the ship so it can have like magic bullets.
No,
forever.
no. The plane does not have magic anything. It's just a plane.
It's just a plane. Also, they only have like a few seconds worth of fire in those old planes.
That's correct. So
That also shouldn't work because the plane needs to be magic. Otherwise, it's not going to affect the ship. The ship for the Vikings is magic.
right.
Well, but he is flying the plane.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe because he's
It's
flying
falling apart.
Yeah. Well, it's almost over. So he fires.
Yeah,
at
Garth doesn't know how to finish.
Yeah. So Thor yells Yackelsen's name so loud that it like hurts the ears of Doctor Strange and Sigurd, and then proclaims that 'tis on like Donkey Kong.
Okay.
I also love you could tell based on the covers of this book that like this was the last issue, and Garth's like, oh, I need one more. Okay, here's another less exciting image of Thor.
Yeah, you need one more because you wasted a lot of time.
Yep. Of course, Ennis can't resist but make fun of the White House. So we're at the White House, and someone has to explain to the president that we can't nuke Manhattan because the fallout will reach D.C. Ha 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 ha. That's it. So then Thor is just bashing Vikings, not unlike Sauron hitting a bunch of, soldiers at the battle for the ring.
Yeah.
3,000
So the battle will
years
be
ago.
over in what? 2 minutes?
Well, he's got to fight Yakelson first. So
Yeah,
he's bashing these guys down. Meanwhile, Magnus and Sigurd are also kicking ass and taking names, just having fun. Like the Germans' plane is like filled with arrows, and he's like, nah, jeez.
That's awesome.
Thor notices like how weird it is that I bade battle to Yakelson, and he never. He didn't resist the last time. Why is he taking so long? Oh, maybe he's not on the ship anymore. And then Yakelson runs Thor through in the back.
Oh.
It's like, oh yeah, I jumped off the ship and now I want to fight you. So Yakelson is just a better fighter than everybody, so he just beats the shit out of Sigurd and Magnus, just knocks them out, but doesn't kill them because he would, but can't because we don't want that. And
Right.
so then he's like, ho, quite an army, Thunder God. You must be very proud. And then Thor just hits him with the hammer, like up the chin, and it hurts him. Like takes out a chunk of head.
How's Thor able to do that? He was just stabbed in the chest.
Well, because Thor's made of tougher stuff.
Yeah, and I drank
He
the
drank
blood.
that blood. He drank that
Right.
blood curse, so
I
he's
see.
healing faster. He's healing as fast as Yakelson.
Oh.
So then he calls him Jackal Son and says, "Get up!" And Yakelson hisses like a monster, and then basically just tells Thor what he did to him in the second issue, and attacks Thor. Thor like parries the sword, and then Yakelson like punches Thor in the hole he made with his sword in the first place. Thor knocks his arm off.
Oh.
The Vikings overwhelm the German, and he just basically he does this cool move where he like gets out of the ship, fights the Vikings, and then just jumps off the ship and lets the plane bash into the Viking ship.
That's
so
cool.
taking out both of them at the same time.
Nice. That's fun. Pulls it up.
So then Thor and the Viking Yakelson like battle. Yakelson is gross. He like bites Thor's hand and rips skin off of his arm. And
Oh, yeah, he's fighting dirty.
yeah, fighting
He's
dirty.
fighting to win.
Exactly. Then he tries to choke out Thor when upon the Warriors 3 join Thor in battle.
Oh.
And
Did they drink the blood too?
Yeah. Oh no, they all drink.
Oh,
blood.
not Thor's
Oh,
No, no,
not
his,
Thor.
his new
His
Warriors.
new
3.
Warriors, I see.
Yeah, the Warriors 3 of the story.
Right.
And so he's like, "Oh, look, Thor's army. What are you going to do? You're going to help? You're going to fight dirty and join in?" And like, why would we? Thor doesn't need help.
But I'm literally choking him out right now. He's on his knees.
Yeah, but we just
gasping for
distracted
breath.
you.
Yes. So Thor gets his upper hand, and then he punches Yakelson into orbit.
What?
I'm
He just-
sorry,
he-
that's...
He just punches Yakelson so hard he's in space now. Which is played for laughs. Everyone's like, "Where'd he go?" Doctor Strange.
That's how he's defeated?
Has he ever punched someone into space before?
I don't know. I think yeah.
Doesn't that mean he's just up there cursed forever?
Just
wait.
screaming.
Yeah. And the curse says 1,000 years, so maybe in another 1,000 years, Yakelson will come back and he'll still be as powerful. But that's a story for another time.
Or
Before we-
not.
yeah, no. They're never going to bring back Harold Yakelson. Unless C.B. Cebulski's a big Back Issues fan. And it's like, oh man, I've got a running tally of characters that are coming back. That Goop Monster George from Lifeform is coming back. Also, Harold Yakelson. But then Doctor Strange declares, there'll be nightmares for years to come and mass depressions and suicides.
Oh.
Because you don't see your city turn into a death camp and then just walk away, not psychologically anyway.
Yep.
Anyway, time to put you three back.
I just,
and,
I just
everything will be
changed
back
the
to
whole
normal.
Marvel universe.
Yep, now get in your magic portal. And so they do. And they leave. And then we see like a little montage of all of those three characters dying. And so as a result, they get to go to Valhalla, including the Nazi. Thor gets to hang out with them, I guess, like at the end of days or whatever. It's just like, yay! They made it! They get to live forever as warriors. And maybe Yakelson will come back one day, but probably not.
I guess he doesn't get to die.
This is
No,
such
Yakelson
a
just-
weak ending.
It's just, what? You got like a whole other issue. Every issue could have been the last one because of all the conveniences.
Yeah.
But yes. So Yakelson is just like doomed to float through space. But like, you know, a Shi'ar ship could intercept Yakelson. You know? Or like Yakelson could be attacked by a brood. And then you got a Brood Yakelson, an unkillable Viking brood.
He could come into contact with Asteroid M.
Yes. Yeah, Magneto could be like, what is this? And then he kills Magneto, and then it's Magneto, and then it's Asteroid J.
Yikes.
But I guess, Garth's like, I want to put him on the shelf. Yakelson is too cool to kill.
Yeah.
Wrong. You want to talk about Mary Sue's or Gary Stews, which is a term I do not accept.
No.
Gary Stews.
No.
Yeah, that's what a Mary Sue is for a male character. I'm like,
Or they're just
no.
a Mary Sue.
Yeah, no. It's okay to use Mary Sue for the masculine. It's fine. Live with it. Anyway, this book sucks. It's just like it's okay. It is fun
It
to read.
starts off
you read it and you're like, I guess if I hate the universe or I like irreverent, subversive fiction.
I like where it starts. Issue 1 is fun.
Yeah, it sets things up and there's stakes. Oh no, right?
And like, oh my god, it's gruesome. This is what happened when the Vikings would actually attack New York City.
yeah,
and they were like
this version of
unstoppable.
Vikings.
Yeah, the
And then
Vikings
it gets
were
like
zombies and
absolutely
shit.
insane.
Yeah, no, it's off the walls.
I mean, the problem is, how could Thor fight Vikings and it take more than like a page?
Right. No.
Like,
I mean, like
it has to be magic and shit.
Any number of things. The Vikings sail into hell itself, and they make a deal with Mephisto, and then they come back to Earth. Like they're magic Vikings, but Thor has to go back in time and fight Yakelson with no powers.
Yeah, or maybe they're just really tough.
Or they're just tough but not invincible. Why does it have to be
Much
some
like
weird
he
magic
like
spell?
bashes them, they like die bludgeoning.
Yeah.
But then they reform.
Right.
Every
yes.
day they just rise again.
Exactly. So then Thor has to do like one big awesome superpower move at the end where he calls down the lightning, which is one thing he doesn't do in the entire effing book, where he just like calls down the lightning and he has to like vaporize them. You know what I mean? Just like zzz, like that's it.
There's no way to come back from that.
Yeah.
Much like, how do you kill a werewolf?
Right.
Oh, a silver bullet. What if I atomize him?
Yes. Oh, I guess that
Oh,
too.
then he'll reassemble himself like Wolverine.
Yeah. That's canon. Thor Vikings. It's not available in the comments down below because it's out of print, but you can find it. I did. I mean, you could buy this.
From us.
No. Yeah, we'll sell it to you. No, you could buy the first.
We'll sell it to you for $60 because I'm getting that trade.
I'm getting that trade somehow. You can get the whole 5-issue series on eBay for less than $20. Like, you could just go the whole thing. Or you could go to any Comic-Con and go to like back issues bins, and I'll bet it's in there too. This did nothing to help justify the Max line. It enjoyed it. It wore it like a cheap suit.
It reveled in it.
It reveled in it. Yeah.
It absolutely like took the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm gonna enjoy this.
Like,
Right,
this
exactly.
fulfilled the promise of Max.
Right, except it also didn't like eat Vertigo's lunch or justify it outside of it being a kind of interesting idea that
because
came
the
and went and
story
died.
is bad.
It's convenient and trite. I don't even think it's bad, but it is absolutely trite. It is superficial and
Where
one-dimensional.
it goes sucks.
It does suck. No, this book does suck.
This would be
It's not great.
more. I mean, if it wasn't a Thor book,
Oh, sure. Well, then no one would have bought it, though.
but it's incongruous.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense in the universe that it's in. As a story about Vikings attacking a real Manhattan where there are no superheroes. Like,
Yeah.
Then it'd be like, okay, that's kind of interesting.
Right.
And the time travel stuff, getting the character, yeah, sure. The descendants of the guy, all that stuff.
All that stuff
If you
could
take
happen.
Thor and the Avengers out of it, to
and
me
Doctor
that's like,
Strange, because it's also like, what?
And Doctor
Because you
Strange.
needed that also, that element.
yeah, and make it something more interesting and appropriate to the material.
Yeah.
Maybe a modern, mystic from
Yes, the descendant
Norway
of him. yeah.
or Denmark or something.
Yes.
Someone who's like, oh, I'm familiar with maybe even a archaeologist or something. Someone who's like familiar with.
Yeah, no, like a Norse storyteller.
Yeah.
Watching the carnage on television, who then
Yeah.
recognizes Yakelson.
Yeah, I can solve. Just take all the Marvel stuff out.
Yeah, and you get
be like,
yourself a story.
That's a serviceable story there.
I mean, it probably was, right? Like, this was just like a book that Garth has had in the shelf that, like, no one greenlit because, like, who's going to greenlit this weird book that's really about nothing?
Right.
until you slapped Thor on it.
Thor,
Thor's a Viking.
Now it's weird. Now it's like, oh,
No,
it's intriguing. 'Cause
Yeah, it's different.
if you
It's a
tell
different
people,
kind of Thor book.
I've got an R-rated Thor.
Ooh, what's that like?
Hold on to your hat.
Not like you're thinking.
Nothing like you'd think, right? But it also makes sense because you're like, Thor Vikings. Yeah, they worship Thor.
Imagine all the shit Loki could get up to if it was a rated R
Oh
book.
my God.
That was the thing. I'm amazed that Loki wasn't part of this.
How could Yagelsson not be like, Thor, I worship Loki,
Oh
right?
yeah. But
No.
anything to do with
Anything.
Thor
Right,
at
or
all.
Thor goes to Odin. I'm powerless to fight Yagelsson. And Odin goes, that's good. I like it. I like him taking over. You know, most of those Vikings are actually worshipers of Thor. I've never felt more powerful. Don't you? And then like people are starting to like become Vikings. You see like hipsters and yuppies like wearing helmets and furs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we love pillaging,
We're
right?
part of the
Oh.
Viking thing.
Yeah, we're all part of it now. They're like something.
Anything.
It's 5 issues of Thor just having his ass handed to him, and then Doctor Strange explaining what the book is going to be about for the rest of the book. And also bloody, disgusting gore from Yagelsson, which is really what the book is about.
Right.
The book is, do you want to see people torn asunder by blades? Well, if you do, then Thor Vikings is for you. If you want to see Thor be a hero, you will not. You will see Thor lose. You will see Thor complain. Yeah. You will see Thor fight a little.
You won't
and then
see
you will
any of Thor's cast.
You will see
at
no
all.
Thor supporting
The only
cast
thing
members.
you need to know about Thor in order to be fully in with this book is that Thor is from Norse mythology.
Yes.
And has a hammer.
Right.
I mean, although they show you that, so you don't even need to really know that.
You really
That's
don't.
the only Thor stuff
Yeah.
that's even in this book.
And in fact, the enchantment for Mjolnir is a Marvel invention.
Right.
Mjolnir is just very heavy, and only people as powerful as Thor can lift it. That's Norse. Marvel's is that it's magic.
Right.
So really,
Because you have
need
the Hulk.
less. Yeah, yeah. Well, no, Hulk, yeah, because Hulk can't lift it. You got to be like, okay, no.
Right. It doesn't matter how strong you are, you can't live it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no Thor characters in this book
No.
besides Thor.
No.
Not one.
This is basically Doctor Strange Vikings
Yeah.
with a Thor cameo.
Yeah, like
No,
What a waste.
I mean, really, it's a Rocky movie. You know, Thor shows up, he gets his
the crap,
ass
yeah.
kicked, and then he comes
He
back at
trains.
the end and he trains.
Yeah.
He trains.
He trains.
He drinks a magical cheat serum and then beats him.
yes. Well, he cheats as much as the people he's fighting.
That's true.
Except they didn't mean to cheat.
They didn't know they were cheating, but
know,
once
but
they
they-
do, they're like,
yeah.
okay. I mean, yeah, because it's true. If the Vikings only lived 1,000 years but were normal, they would have been killed by a hail of bullets once they started pillaging and going
Right.
about their
And that
business.
would be kind of interesting as well.
Fun to watch.
That would take less than 5 issues.
You pay
But
more.
again, if
Maybe
you have
2.
the idea that they reanimate afterwards.
But then you do the reanimation part,
Yeah.
and then you get something.
I would just like to see them deal with the problem of guns.
Yes.
It's like the police like shoot like 5 of them and they're like, oh,
no!
oh crap, retreat.
Yeah,
All right, let's
yeah.
work this out. Let's try to figure out how to draw them into hand-to-hand combat.
Yes,
You know?
yeah.
Like that would be something.
Right. And
This is nothing.
No, it's nothing. It's nothing.
This took like 5 minutes to think of this idea and
Yeah.
execute it.
Yeah, no.
Like there's nothing behind
The
this.
heavy lifting is done by Glenn Fabry, who just has to, who's
Yeah.
to draw the damn thing. That's
Yeah.
the longest part of the book, was
Yeah.
just drawing it.
Very detailed.
Very detailed, really fun, good character designs. Glenn Fabry
I
is...
imagine Garth is just like, but I put so many words in, I gave people dialogue and backstory. I'm like, and it doesn't matter.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's-
There's a lot of dialogue, by the way.
There's a lot.
But like, and it says nothing. There is some fun highfalutin language about Yagelsson and how he feels and what he's thinking, but it's all about just like it's. I don't.
What
I don't
does he
want to
feel?
know what Jeffrey Dahmer's thinking.
It's morose.
Yeah, it is. It's fun and it shows. Yes, I still think Garth Ennis is a good writer. Yes, he does have command over the written word, and it is effective. And also, this book sucks. You can have both. There you have it, Thor Vikings. Good luck finding it, but also, if you do, you'll have it. And that's more than most people could say.
And
There you
that's
go.
true.
And that's
Yes.
a thing that would be true.
exists.
Yeah.
But I do recommend you get the floppies because you do get these fun ads that cement it in time.
Oh,
like
man, it's
you
so
would
great.
never catch Marvel paying to advertise JLA Avengers. Or you get to see everybody reveling in the release of the Ang Lee Hulk movie and the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, and nerds across America going, no. it's pretty cool. As opposed to hindsight going, meh, or boo. Most people at the Ang Lee movie were like, boo.
Boo.
Myself included.
Boo.
Meh.
I
I saw that in
never-
theaters and I was like, oh.
Never saw it.
You know what sucks is the
Never saw
stacked cast.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott as Thunderbolt Ross. Jennifer Connelly as Betty. I mean, even Nero himself, Eric Bana, as the Hulk. Not bad.
Yeah. Not bad.
Some great character acting in that movie. Because they all know they're in a big, stupid, steaming pile of turd movie. Like, we're making Hulk. It is a mess. Right off the heels of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah, that's who I'd get to make my Hulk movie.
They're famous.
Yeah, so? But, like, why would you get them?
It's a different movie.
It's about magic and shit.
No, it's not!
Well, whatever. It's not real.
Oh, nothing's real. We're a dream factory!
But it's not just not real. It's impossible. That's what they have in
But
common.
everything we make is
He
impossible.
made a movie about
Yeah, but
impossible, all
fantasy,
these fantastic creatures,
all
Oh,
movies
Jesus
and,
Christ.
and superheroes and sci-fi, and they're
Yeah.
all not real.
Well, that's the thing is like Hollywood's like, I don't see the difference between Hulk or Daredevil or Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Like, it's all magic
Or
nonsense.
Star Trek.
Or Star Trek.
or
It's just
yeah.
whatever.
It's all lies.
It's all made up nonsense.
It's all nonsense that I didn't get into this industry to make.
Right.
I wanted to make
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane. You're not. You're producing the Hulk movie in 2003.
Deal with
I
it.
want Godfather 4.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, you don't.
No.